Welcome back to another episode of Voices of 2020. Throughout this series, we hope that you are learning and reflecting on what our students are saying. The playwrights who wrote these monologues have strong emotions and feelings, and we are so proud of what our student performers have accomplished in bringing these words to life. We once again want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our students, even if you disagree with the words they are saying. Remember, these are our students. These are the voices of 2020.
More than 130,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and more than 2,000 deaths.
Significant upticks in people reporting significant levels of anxiety and depression. We're living in a world where the goalposts are moved every single day.
The U.S. sets a record for new COVID-19 infections for a third straight day. Friday saw more than 126,000 new cases reported. At least one person has been shot dead and a number of others injured during a third night of protests in the U.S. city of Kenosha.
We don't have to survive! We need to live! We need to live! My brothers need to live! My sisters need to live! My mother needs to live! I want to breathe! I want to breathe!
The gunfire started in the early hours of Wednesday after hundreds of protesters defied a dawn-to-dusk curfew and clashed with police, then responded with tear gas and rubber bullets.
It's hard to make up from a reckless night of sleep. After waking up 2 times in the night with anxiety attacks, I've never felt more scared in my life. I don't even know what my anxiety was for. I guess with school starting, my anxiety levels have skyrocketed. I don't even sleep anymore. It's like my anxiety is a monster inside of me. It just takes over whenever it wants. There are different personalities to my anxiety. I can become really hyper and jittery, or I can completely emotionally shut down. It just takes over whenever it wants. I can just burst into tears with no warning. I was in the middle of the store about to burst into tears because my family didn't have a plan for dinner. It's like there are little demons inside of me trying to fight for my attention. It's all my nerves and worries boiling inside of me. It's eating me from the inside out. No, I'm not going to tell my parents. They know I have anxiety and that's it. If I tell them anything, they'll think I'm insane, and the only cure for that is medication. I can't be put on another drug. It will just make everything worse. I'm already messed up enough. I'm stuck in a place, a blank space. Nothing special about it. It's cold, dark, and doesn't smell good. It's a place I've grown to know, but it's not a good or nice place. It's a place you don't want to stay in for long, but some people get trapped. You'll never see them again. Do you ever feel like sometimes your closest friends never even know what's going on? They see you at your best and sometimes at your worst, but they don't know you when you're at rock bottom. It's too embarrassing to admit to anyone, so you just decide to sit in your room and keep it to yourself. You feel like it will always be this way. But I have found the tiniest piece of hope, and I'm holding on to it for as long as I can. That is you. You're my piece of hope.
Dear best friend. Oh, that felt gross to say out loud. What's up, dude? I've wanted to say this to you for a while, but I guess it never felt like the macho thing to do. I just always wanted to seem tough to you. But since you'll never find this letter, here's proof to whoever does find it that you're the closest thing I have to a brother. When I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, my class was giving presentations on our families. Each kid went up and talked about both their parents and each of their siblings. I was so nervous. I had never really felt ashamed of just growing up with just my mom until I saw what I suppose normal was to everyone else. When it was my turn to go up, I told everyone about my mom and how much she'd sacrificed to get us to the life we were in. And then I paused. Everyone waited for me to tell them about the rest of my family. As I looked around at all these other kids who had more family than I had ever known, I started telling them about my brother. The guy who hung out with me after school, helped me with my homework, wrestled with me, and was there for me when no one else was. I started talking about you. You'll never know the difference you've made in my life. How much knowing you has changed me into the person I am today. I never knew what it was like to have a dad, but I know what it's like to have a big brother. Because that was you. You were there for me when I got my first girlfriend, and when she dumped me a week later. You fixed me up after I got beat up behind the school, and you taught me how to defend myself. Because that was you. You were the guy who knew everything, who could make everything that was wrong, right. Honestly, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being my best for... Thank you for being my brother.
P.S. Yes, my brother is the crazy camper in my backyard. P.S. Yes, he really does hate us that much. P.S. So does COVID-19. Boom. Best way to end the letter, hands down. Now it's time to practice my signature to perfection, just to sign and then forget how to do it all over tomorrow. Oh, you have questions? And I have answers. Let's hope they match up. Why? Well, COVID-19, which, by the way, seems to be a really good answer to a lot of the weird questions this year. He was exposed at college. Stupid Mankato University doesn't have testing available, and he didn't want to get his roommate sick, so he has to come home. But he doesn't want to get us sick, so the natural, logical solution is to camp out in my backyard, hunt for squirrels for food, and never put on deodorant again. Ew. Well, too bad that hunting's illegal in city limits, so I had to give him food. Funny story, don't you think? Fun until your dog spends all of her time with him instead of you, so you're all alone. Yay! Fun until you don't have any connection, so you can't get to your Zoom calls, but hey, calculus isn't really that important, is it? Fun until you realize all the weird ways a pandemic can change your life. Fun until you realize that your brother's college day isn't as permanent as you may have hoped.
I remember hearing about some random virus that got started by a dude who ate a bat. A bat? What makes you look at that slimy black creature and think, that looks appetizing? I mean, hey, at least make it like actually, yeah, never mind. Let's just not eat exotic animals, okay? Well, anyways, this virus in China had very little impact on our lives. Till it did. It was kind of like a light switch, but like an evil virus light switch. Switch it on and boom, half the world is infected. As that evil little virus, started to affect people, they would result to full panic mood, let me tell you. We are all going to die, was the mentality of most middle-aged people. It was the zombie apocalypse, but on steroids, gas masks, people storming the grocery stores, grabbing anything they could to guarantee survival. But most importantly, they grabbed toilet paper. Again, why toilet paper? That wasn't even a symptom of COVID. 20 days into quarantine, we have run out of food. But don't worry, we have 10 more packages of toilet paper. Like, what were you preparing for, the feces monster? This was like a Hallmark version of Captain Underpants' worst nightmare. You would walk past the food aisle. Rows of canned goods, fresh fruit, chip bags, and protein bars lined the shelves. But walk past the toilet paper aisle, and it was drier than the Sahara Desert on an August afternoon. People, however, felt the need to be their own person. Corona who? The law was passed that masks were required in any public establishment. Let's just say Candy Dandy Karen didn't like that. Oh, Corona was just a small pebble in her path to world domination. What's a mask? How do I wear it? No, I can't breathe in this thing. No, Karen, you just don't want to breathe in that thing. Countless videos would surface of Karen running over a store employee who made her leave because she didn't have her mask on. Very angry Yelp reviews were left online criticizing businesses that made her leave because she didn't have her mask on. It's all their fault, as she would say. Not mine at all, even though I knew I was supposed to have my mask on. Let me just humiliate an 18-year-old girl just trying to do her job at a simple ice cream parlor on top of a hill along the countryside. Just a word of advice. We would all get through this so much faster if we please, don't be a Karen.
In the midst of the chaos of COVID and quarantine, wildlife has been thriving. I saw environments like the Venice canals in Italy visibly shift to contain fish when they hadn't in multiple years. In the absence of us, things that were once dirty and disgusting have cleaned out. And yet, no one talks about it. Why? There were massive fires all across California that ruined people's homes and workplaces. In Australia, massive fires ravaged across the continent and killed wildlife. 2020 has had the second most active Atlantic hurricane season ever. The Earth is trembling, and I'm worried what will happen if we do nothing. Climate scientists have changed their predictions. What was once the worst-case scenario is now the guaranteed one, and it only gets worse. Why does no one talk about it? We want to make money. Inherently, we are short-term creatures. We desire personal gain and ally ourselves with those who get it for us. Politicians and news outlets don't cover these issues very often and bring other things to the forefront. To me, this seems like an even more effective way than fighting climate activists. By making us forget about climate, they bury the issue. And businesses that benefit from dangerous environmental practices continue to amass more and more money. We shouldn't sit still. We should advocate for those who have lost everything due to our own greed and incompetence. We should push funding towards new technology that benefits both us and the next generation. We should find ways to make a profit while turning over soil onto a new seed of climate awareness. Several amazing companies I've seen have already developed this, with boats designed to refreeze the polar ice caps in freezing containers and boats designed to deconstruct the massive floating trash islands that float across our oceans, strangling fish and wildlife. I want to defend the beautiful world we live in, and I think you should too.
More than 130,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and more than 2,000 deaths. Significant upticks in people reporting significant levels of anxiety and depression. We're living in a world where the goalposts are moved every single day. The U.S. sets a record for new COVID-19 infections for a third straight day. Friday saw more than 126,000 new cases reported. At least one person has been shot dead and a number of others injured during a third night of protests in the U.S. city of Kenosha.
We don't have to survive! We need to live! We need to live! My brothers need to live! My sisters need to live! My mother needs to live! I want to breathe! I want to breathe!
The gunfire started in the early hours of Wednesday after hundreds of protesters defied a dawn-to-dusk curfew and clashed with police, then responded with tear gas and rubber bullets.